Imagine yourself there. It's 113 AD, and Rome boasts 1.2 million residents, making it the biggest city in the world. Under Emperor Trajan's reign, his realm extends from Scotland down to the Sahara. But how would an average day unfold for someone like you, just a regular resident threading through the planet's inaugural megacity? Drawing on AI analysis of digs and ancient documents, we've pieced together a full day in this historic place. Forget the polished tours or grand statues alone. This is the genuine Rome. The throngs, the clamor, the odors, the risks. From first light until the dead of night. Here's the unvarnished reality of daily existence back then. Transport yourself 2 millennia into the past. At dawn, the sky's still dark, yet the capital stirs to life. You're crammed into an insula, one of those towering 5-story tenements in the Subura quarter. This area's jammed with maybe 50,000 souls squeezed onto a handful of blocks. Your cramped space sits up on the 4th level. Nothing fancy, no plumbing, no panes for light, no cooking spot. Only a simple timber frame for a bed stuffed with straw, and perhaps a basic oil lamp if you've got the means for fuel. The whole structure creaks and shifts ominously. Blazes flare up in these blocks all the time, and cave-ins happen too often for comfort. Later, Augustus would cap structures at 70 feet through edicts. But property owners flout the rules without a second thought. You navigate the rickety wooden steps downward. The passage stinks of piss since there's no latrine on your floor. Folks just tip out their pots from upper windows onto the pavement below. Bad timing, and you're the one doused. Stepping out, the urban din hits you hard right away. Vendors prepping their booths, wagons clattering across the stones as deliveries roll in. Vehicles like these are banned from streets during daylight to ease the congestion, meaning the city pulses non-stop. The racket echoes through the hours of darkness. As morning breaks, your initial errand is the baths. Sure, washing up factors in, but it's more than that. These spots kick off the routine for locals. We're at Trajan's Baths, sprawling over 11 hectares, smack in the urban core. Admission's a steal, just a quadrans, the tiniest denomination going. All sorts flock here, bondservants, traders, high-ranking officials too, before they trek to the forum. You hand over your fee, stash your garments with the keeper, fingers crossed he doesn't pinch them, and step inside. Start with the exercise yard, where folks strip down for wrestling matches, weight training, or tossing balls around. Next, progress to the warming chambers, the tepidarium for a gentle heat, then the caldarium's scorching steam that leaves you gasping. Attendants stoke the underfloor ovens non-stop, powering it all with that glowing warmth. The finale's the frigidarium, an icy dip that jolts your senses. That's the whole idea, as locals swear it cleanses the flesh and hones the wits. While soaking it in, you could snag a trim, a rub-down, or a bite from a cellar nearby. Chatter's inevitable, too. Bedroom scandals, or that official busted for graft. Bathing's only the surface. It's truly about embodying Roman ways. By mid-morning, the forum calls. You make your way to the Roman Forum, the pulsing center for governance, faith, trade, all jammed into that single square. The uproar assaults your ears. Advocates bellowing arguments, orators rallying crowds, peddlers pushing wares from sugary treats to pilfered baubles. Your purpose today. Serve as a witness for sealing a pact. No scribes for oaths here. Deals demand at least 7 upright locals to vouch. You position yourself before the Basilica Julia as a pair of dealers wrap up a shipment of grain. That hall's enormous, 300 feet in length, rising 3 levels. Within its walls, 4 distinct hearings unfold at once. Counselors holler to drown one another out, while onlookers roar approval or hurl taunts based on their bets. Courtroom dramas, basically a spectacle for the masses. Once the agreement's inked, you've got a lull. Stroll by the Temple of Saturn, guardian of the state's coffers. Beyond that, the rostra, platform for demagogues vying for the spotlight. A century and a half back, Mark Antony delivered Caesar's eulogy from that very spot, igniting the clash that tore the Republic apart. At midday, Trajan's market. Hunger gnaws by noon, so you veer toward Trajan's market, carved into the slopes of Capitoline Hill. Think of it as antiquity's bustling emporium, with more than 150 outlets climbing 6 tiers. Down on the base level, it's pure frenzy. Seafood hauled from Ostia, 15 miles off. Aromatics shipped from India or Egypt. Vintages from Greece. Oils pressed in Spain. The empire's bounty, all up for grabs under one roof. For a quick meal, you hit a thermopolium, those street-side eateries with steaming dishes in earthen vessels embedded in stone counters. Perhaps a hearty stew or some sausages, but bread is a must. The Romans devour plenty of it. The city devours around 400,000 tons of grain annually. Much of that arrives from Egypt, transported over the Mediterranean, and then along the Tiber River. Should those deliveries halt, Rome would face famine, which explains why emperors distribute free grain to roughly 200,000 residents, ensure the populace stays nourished, ensure they remain calm. In the afternoon, the Colosseum awaits. Post-lunch, you make your way to the Colosseum. The day's spectacles kicked off at sunrise with beast hunts. Now in the afternoon, the highlight arrives. Gladiator battles. The Colosseum accommodates 50,000 spectators, and it's overflowing. Seating reflects status. Senators claim the lowest rows, equestrians follow, ordinary folk occupy the higher tiers, while women and slaves cram into the uppermost sections, often standing. You find a spot midway up. The fighters emerge from passages under the arena sand. These aren't mere outlaws thrown together. Many are skilled experts who've drilled for months leading up to this. Some entered as slaves, others as freed individuals. A handful are eager recruits drawn by the promise of riches and glory. Top performers amass fortunes. They're stars, too. Women send them passionate notes. Kids trade small statues of their idols. The clash erupts. One combatant is a Murmillo, clad in heavy protection, wielding a broad shield and blade. Facing him is a Retiarius, mostly exposed, equipped with a weighted net and 3-pronged spear. It wraps up swiftly. The Retiarius collapses, blood streaming from a gash in his shoulder. The audience seals his destiny. Thumbs raised signal pardon, thumbs lowered demand execution. The mood today is forgiving. He survives. The following bout launches without pause. Early evening brings dinner. As the afternoon wanes, you turn toward home. If riches were yours, you'd retreat to your domus, a spacious private residence featuring a garden atrium and a hall for hosting guests. But wealth eludes you, so it's back to that tight space in the Subura. Your evening fare stays basic. Bread, cheese, perhaps olives. No kitchen in sight, right? Without an oven or hearth, flames for cooking in timber-framed blocks spell disaster. Half of Rome's blazes start that way, so cold bites or vendor grabs for warm eats suffice. For a proper spread, a papina calls. Such spots carry a shady vibe. Dice games, sex work, brawls. Upstanding folks steer clear of papinas, yet half the population dines there out of necessity. As dusk falls, Rome transforms. Streets turn perilous. Lacking lamps or watchmen to patrol blocks, darkness breeds trouble. The vigils, tasked with firefighting, roam but prioritize blazes over banditry. Wisely, you hunker down after nightfall. Venturing out means companions, a lantern perhaps, and surely a blade. Robberies abound, killings too. Corpses bob in the Tiber regularly. Elites ride in sedan chairs borne by servants, flanked by weaponed escorts. The destitute roll the dice alone. Those supply wagons from before. They swarm the roads now. Oxen haul carts brimming with grain, vino, construction goods. The racket never quits. Cartwheels grinding over cobblestones, haulers yelling, beasts lowing. Poets of Rome griped endlessly about the din. They claimed true rest in the city was impossible, even if sought. That sums up a full day in ancient Rome. Forget the grand marble shrines and victory columns. This is the authentic pulse. Teeming, boisterous, risky, thrilling, grimy, awe-inspiring. Somehow, 1.2 million souls kept the machine turning in a place boasting aqueducts and drains, yet rife with street refuse from folks. Communal baths for mass soaking, insulae packing 6 souls per chamber, grain handouts for the needy alongside arena deaths for sport. Rome pioneered city life at this magnitude. Sure, they botched plenty. Overlooked fire safety, rampant lawlessness, disparities in fortune that stagger the mind. Yet they mastered sustaining 1 million with sustenance, hydration, spectacles, and a shared imperial identity. 2 millennia on, their model endures.